Be Your Best You, the Passionate to Purpose podcast with David Delaney. Good morning and welcome to this episode of Be Your Best You, where this morning not only have we got an Irish Mammy on the podcast, we have an Irish Budgeting Mammy on the podcast. It's all about starting a journey to freedom with your finances. Budget doesn't imprison you but sets you free. So we talk about debt repayment, vision boards, financial goal settings, all of these things that this Irish Mammy set out to help you take control of your finances. The book, it contains all the tools that you're going to need to pay off debt, goal set, have an emergency fund tracker, month by month budget sheets to help you achieve your dreams. This Mammy knows what she's talking about because she's been there, done that, and we listened to her unique and extraordinary story this morning. Anne-Marie, good morning. You're very, very welcome to this episode of the Be Your Best You podcast.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Anne-Marie, tell us a little bit about yourself. You started as a teacher. You're now in nursing, and you also have Irish Budgeting Mammy. So tell us a little bit about the journey so far for yourself.
Well, I think at this stage I've been possibly everything. It's like I've been married, I've been divorced, I've been a single mum, and now I'm in a new relationship. So that kind of coincides with the job changes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So teaching to nursing, I suppose, first. How did that?
Basically, it kind of went with the last recession because the funding was pulled for the area of education that I worked in, and I had no job and I didn't know what to do. I'd recently had a baby and I'd also recently got separated. So what I did was I looked at my sister. She was nursing. She said, "Why don't you do nursing?" And I said, "Okay, I'll do that."
Okay. So it just happened. It was aligned that it was going to happen.
It was always something in my mind as well about doing nursing. I thought about it when I left school, and I think I kind of went against what my parents wanted. They would have wanted me to do nursing, so I was kind of rebelling and said, "No, I'm not going to do it." So I think it was always meant for me.
Okay. So in the line, is it a specific type of nursing that you work in?
Yeah, I'm a psychiatric nurse with a postgrad in mental health promotion. So.
Right. So tell me, along the way then, this idea came into your brain for Irish Budgeting Mammy. Tell me a little bit about that.
Basically all that happened last year. I've been quite good at budgeting. I was in a lot of debt in the last recession. So it was kind of, I kind of got my way out of that while being in college. So the hard part, so I figured that I was quite good at it. I was good at getting out of debt. So last year I started the page because I said, you know what, I was on maternity leave. I said, I don't actually want to have any debt at all. So I'm on a mission to pay off my mortgage at the moment. And I just started the page kind of to keep myself accountable. I found this huge community called the Debt Free Community on Instagram. And I said, oh, that's interesting. So I started the page and I was anonymous for a long time. Then I started looking to buy a workbook for budgeting, and none of them were cheap. None of them had everything I needed in it. And I just said, I'll make one. So yeah.
That's where that came from.
Yes.
So is there still a shame or a stigma attached to debt in Ireland?
Oh God, yes. Yeah. People are so ashamed to talk about money. They'd be quite happy to get 20 credit union loans so they can look like they have all the wealth, but then not tell nobody that it's been credit union loan funded, basically.
Okay. And in the last 12 to 18 months, do you see a lot more people kind of looking for your service and kind of say, circumstances, obviously we have the global circumstance of pandemic. We have people, maybe who have had full-time employment are now on COVID payments and stuff like that. So the landscape has changed financially. Have you found yourself busier in queries for kind of the budget?
I am so busy. I get messages all the time. I get an average between 50 and 100 messages a day from people because they don't feel they have anyone to talk to. And because I'm so open about it all, and I'm so open with tips and advice, and they'll come and they'll tell me that they've got this debt, they don't know where to turn. Then I give them some advice, and then they'll often come back and go, that was amazing. I cleared the first credit union loan or something else like that, and never thought I could have an emergency fund is something I talk about, which is say €1,000 in the bank. And they come back to me and say, I never thought I could have €1,000, ready for when the washing machine breaks or anything like that.
Okay. So there's a lot of ostrich syndrome, you might call it. A lot of people
Yes,
stuck with their heads in the
yes,
sand and kind of.
yeah.
Okay. And where do you think that comes from? I mean, I know Irish people are obsessed with certainly were obsessed with owning property and owning. I
Yes,
mean, if you look at continental Europe, you have everyone rent, and
yes.
you rent. I know. I mean, certainly in the last couple of years, the rents have been exorbitant here in Ireland. But is there still this obsession with getting yourself into debt for a house and just owning this and owning that, and as you said, keeping up with the Joneses?
Oh God, yes. Everybody wants to get a house. Just I haven't actually spoke to anybody that said I don't want a mortgage. I don't want my own home. But I think it's very it's ancestral in Ireland. Do you know what I mean? I think like owning your own piece of kind of property or land, it's like it's just gone back, gone back, gone back. So it's very much an ancestral thing. I feel.
Okay. And just, I suppose, in the last few months, we've seen lots. I mean, Cork springs to mind there a couple of months ago with the tragedies around land and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
suppose in the line of work that you do with nursing with people and stuff like that, is there an intrinsic link with when things go wrong with land? Does it impact? Do you see a big impact both in the budgeting mammy work that you do and the nursing work? What's the impact for people when things go wrong and debt and stuff like that?
Mentally, it's very hard on people. But I go back to say I'm from a farming background, so the family farm has been in the farm for years and years and years, and this is the proudest thing my father has. So do you know what I mean? And I know that's the same for a lot of Irish people. It's especially from the farming background. So it's the land means so much. It's go back to the fields, that film that I remember doing that in school, and I
Yeah.
remember standing there going, I totally get that. It's like I totally get how people thought like think like that or thought like that, because it's the way it kind of Ireland always has been. But when it comes down to panicking about the house or property, I think but I do think we kind of learned a lot from the last recession, because that was when people really, really lost their homes. I spoke to so many people that have just kind of got onto the kind of settled whatever the problem was. They're bought in ghost estates and different things, and they're kind of back on the property ladder now. But it didn't stop them going back on the property ladder. That's the huge thing. They still want this home. They still want this
Okay.
place to call their own.
So it's ingrained in the psyche, and it's
Yes,
in there.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's ingrained in mine, so I can't actually judge it at all. I would, if I think I would feel panic if I was renting. It would be massive panic that someone could take my home from me. I think that's,
Yeah.
and that's the completely honest kind of view on it.
Okay. So, I mean, why do you do like? I suppose to ask yourself. You mentioned there you went through different stages in life, and I mean, you could have done two things. You could have just like that buried your head in the sand, or said, "I'm here. It's pretty crap. I'm going to help people out." I mean, why did you decide to do that?
Suppose I think all my roles in life have been helping. It's just even as one of my nursing colleagues said to me when I was explaining the pain, she goes, the nursing never ends. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of in you kind of to do that kind of role as well.
Mm.
And I get so much feedback from people. People are so thankful. Like I have seen very little negativity in what I've done, and it's just people, they don't have people to talk to. It's very hard, to turn around to your best friend and say I have no money, because Irish people don't want to talk about it.
Mm.
It's they don't want and they don't want to hear that you have no money either. Do you know, that kind of way? So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's I get so much, I get much back from the page as people get from me.
Okay. So, what does success look like to you then, in terms of the work that you do? What is success?
When I get a message from somebody who tells me that they've cleared this credit card, or they've started saving for the future, or they're managing their money, they're living within their means, to me that's I just feel so proud inside. So I suppose that's success for me.
Okay. And then the mammy bit on Irish, but it's a very
Yeah.
Irish thing. The Irish mammy. It's certainly situations I've been in the past myself. Between jobs and stuff like that, and you go to the Irish mammy, and it's here's a few pound for you. And it's like and the support is always there. So why did you call what you did the Irish budgeting mammy as opposed to the Irish budgeting diva or the Irish budgeting guru, or why mammy?
Because I am a mammy. I've been a mammy since my early 20s.
Right.
And I just think because there's so many different sides to me. It's I could never say I'm a diva. So I think I've worked too hard, to be a diva. And when it comes to the Mammy, the page also has all the cooking and all that kind of thing. Like, I love cooking, and so I'll do a lot of my recipes. And one of my big things is saving money on food. So I zero food waste. The food waste is something that really grinds me. So I think there's so many with food banks in this country, and so many people are struggling to feed their families.
Yeah.
And I think with the whole Mammy thing, I showed them recipes and how you use this different thing and that different thing. And I have 4 kids, so I am a Mammy.
Okay,
that's my
so
biggest role. It's like I might be a
Okay.
nurse, a partner, the Irish budgeting, whatever, but I am a Mammy. So
Okay. I seen just in a conversation actually. We were talking about how expensive it can be perceived to eat healthily in Ireland.
yes,
And people talk about organics and stuff like that. And it came into the conversation. It's not actually expensive to eat healthy. It's cheap to eat crap.
oh God, yes, yeah.
So, like, what tips would you have for anyone that is looking at budget? Might be a bit, squished for cash at the moment. And are there any tips from the household, the cookery management point of view?
Yes.
Any tips for us today?
I have the huge thing I say is meal plan. Okay, so you have to meal plan, and that's you go into your presses before you go shopping and you look at what you have. I have a whole kind of system kind of going, and I just show it on my page, and it's I actually stock take my kitchen. So I have a set amount of this. So I need 1 tomato ketchup and 1 brown sauce, and at the beginning of the month I will go do a stock take. So I'm not going into the shop and buying a thing of ketchup every single shop because, oh, did I have that? No, show that in, that kind of thing. And I have set things so I can always make up a meal. So I've set kind of ingredients. So if I need to buy meat or whatever and a few veg, I still have everything else there to make up a meal. Okay. So that's kind of, yeah.
So plan everything
is shop, do your list, do your shopping list, break it into categories. I have little tricks like if you can, bring a smaller trolley around. When you bring the big trolley, you have loads of room to put stuff in. But if you bring a smaller trolley, you have to stick to your list because you can't fit anything more in. So
yeah. And do you think because I know myself, I'm guilty of I shop around. I don't drive a car, for example, so I have a little backpack, and every week I go around and I'll go here for that, because I can. And so, like, would you recommend people shop around, or are there do it kind of butcher baker candlestick?
Absolutely not. It's actually when I was in college. So when I was in college, I would have been on loan parents. So I was going through college with the Susie grants and loan parents, and I had 3 kids at the time. So the food was where I had to really kind of scrimp. And when it came to the kids, they were fed in the childminder, so that was kind of taken care of. And then for me, it was like I started going to Aldi, and before this I was actually quite a snob about the whole Aldi thing. I was like, oh, I'm not shopping at Aldi, I'm going to Tesco, I'm going here, I'm going there. And so I started doing all my shopping in Aldi, and I just stopped going to the other shops. So and making your meals from scratch, like if you go to the other shops, you get the jars of sauce or the Uncle Ben's and all that kind of stuff. You go to Aldi, you have to make it from, a lot of the time you make it from scratch because you find the ingredients. So that's huge, yeah.
Okay, and no products or brands were endorsed in this discussion.
No.
Just to clarify that.
No.
We haven't received any money from any supermarket, right? In this conversation.
Our little's good as well, but like the whole thing is like another thing is the branded products. I don't buy any branded products, and I actually had it up in my story one day, and someone said, "Oh, how do you eat non-branded beans?" And I was like, well, because I don't eat the beans, the kids eat the beans, and they've ate them since they were 4 or 5, and they don't actually know the difference. They've never brought it up to me about having non-branded food.
Okay. And it's what about grow your own? Is that something that?
Yes, well, I'm actually quite lucky that I do get veg from one of my uncles grows vegetables, and for me, then I'm starting that this year on my story. So I'm waiting for my vegetable boxes to come. They were way back about 2006, 2007 when I first moved into this house. We have a really big garden. We grew all our own veg, and it actually cost me more money than buying it in the supermarket, right? Because I was buying all the stuff the food for the veg, the everything, and I was spending so much time. And the biggest one for me was at that time I used to ring to see was there a blight warning. And then the phone bill came in, and it was more than the veg was worth. It was, but that was the whole time of the organic. Do you remember? It was like the middle of the Celtic Tiger, and everybody was like recommending organic this. And I was like, I'm going to grow all my own veg, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And sometimes you have to weigh up the time, and that's
Okay. Do you think, and I suppose this question links into the work you're doing on the nursing side of things and the mental health and psychiatry and that side of things. Do you think the food that children are eating now is impacting or having a negative impact on people's mental health or their brain chemistry, or do you think we're putting the wrong kind of food into our mouths?
yes, yeah. I remember I remember somebody and it was one of my lecturers in college said if we ate like our grandparents ate, we would be fine. It's we there's if you just ate more kind of basic, and my food is quite basic, and I always say that in the stories, and I'm always like, well, we do say, how do you keep your costs down? I said, well, we eat basic, we kind of avoid a lot of the sauces and different things that you can buy, and but it is, I definitely think it is affecting people's health.
Okay. And I suppose with children particularly, I mean, I know kids are, you see it, they're going to the deli in the local supermarket, they're getting 4 or 5 sausage rolls in a bag for their lunch, and they're going home then and popping something in the microwave because life has changed,
Yes.
people might be out working. And it's like, what's the future? I mean, is it salvageable, do you think? Are we in trouble?
What I do actually for mine is because like I work the long shifts, so I'm gone for 13 hours in the day, and days I'm at work, I do batch cooking. So that I do a big batch cook at the beginning of the month. So it's all shepherd's pies and lasagnas and different things. And I literally take it out of the freezer and they pop it in the oven for 20
Okay.
minutes. But I do think I think I never had a McDonald's till I was 15. Do you know what I mean? And now this seems to be like the handy way to feed your kids. Yeah.
Okay. So like again, treats. People see this as a reward. So you get rewarded by going to this place that the kids are ranting
Yes.
about. So is it fair to say that if you reward, if you get kids at a young age thinking the right way about food, a nice basket of fruit is equally a reward at the end of the week. If kids have the right, you know,
I don't agree with that, because I was like I said, like say with my eldest children, they're teenagers now. I was so into the whole organic food and no sweets and no this, and I had to have like all really healthy stuff. And now, like I just don't buy biscuits because they're boys and they're mid-teens and they'll sit down and eat the whole pack of biscuits. And the fruit could go off in the bowl. They still keep eating the biscuits. So I don't know. I don't know if it actually works, because that's my own social experiment on it. Because I did try that, and it now I'll watch them, and they'd love to go to McDonald's every day.
okay.
But they don't
Is
get to
it?
go to McDonald's because we live in the countryside. So
Yeah, excellent. Um, what did you want to be when you grew up?
oh, everything. And that's why I am everything I am. I think I'm a bit of everything. It's
Okay,
like, well, my biggest, I wanted to be an international show jumper.
okay. Would you
I was,
still do it? Do you still have an
I
equine interest, or do
I
you?
do. But I go to a Staples, and obviously I haven't got to go at all. But I think it's when you have something really like that you really really enjoy. It's so good for your mental health. And as I often my partner often say, you're flying when you come back, because it's that whole love of horses. When I come back after doing it, my mood is just sky high.
Okay. So is there just again, is there a particular piece of advice? Say your 15-year-old self, for example, if your 15-year-old self was standing in front of you now, is there a particular piece of advice that you would give them?
And study.
Okay.
I wasn't great at school. I actually wasn't. And I often laugh and think the teacher saw me now. I have like a level 9 postgrad, and I would literally, I had no interest. I was going to go and become an international show jumper, and that was the only thing that was in my head.
Okay. It's interesting. Like working people on horses, particularly. People say it's therapy.
Yes.
Again,
Yeah.
is there a link between working with animals and the work that you do in like the psychiatric work? Say, is there a link? Do you recommend that people get out in nature as much as they can?
Oh, I love nature. I lived in Dublin for a number of years, and um I remember when I was moving back down, and down to the countryside, and all I could think about was opening my front door and seeing the fresh air and the fields and no people. It was like
Okay.
it's yeah.
Is there an app, Anne Marie, that's changed your life in the last 10 years?
A nap. No, I actually I no.
Oh, okay.
No,
That's
no, probably probably I do a lot of gym work as well, so I would be I've done a professional powerlifting competition, which I'm very proud of, because not that I came anywhere good in it or anything like that. It was just the actual training that I put in to do it. So I probably, the apps that'd be handy for me would be anything like that.
Okay. And the final question I'm going to ask you today, because we're coming up on time, who inspires you and why?
Who inspires me? Oh, so many people inspire me. It's like, I suppose my grandmother. Yeah, but I actually, both my grandmothers would be my biggest inspirations, because they were really, really hard workers, and they never questioned it. It was just, it's just what you did. And they were also really, really frugal. They would, you'd just be amazed they'd never think of wasting money. And if it was back in the Celtic Tiger years, and I told them I bought a pair of jeans for €300, I don't even know if they talked to me after it. It's like,
Okie dokie. Anne-Marie, tell us where we can find you. Where can we find the work?
I'm on Irish Budgeting Mammy on Instagram, and there's also a Facebook page as well.
And that's it for another week. Thanks for joining us this morning, and do join us next time on Be Your Best You. Have a good week.